What should people expect out of Jai Herbert here?
Ooh, someone who's going to bring it, folks. Someone who's going to be there to fight, like wherever you want to take it. Very well-rounded fighter. In my opinion, a little bit better of a striker. We've seen that he can crack you from a mile away and also dip out, cut some angles. He fights very, what's the intent. He fights very intent on the way he's doing things, so he can see things. He's a smarter fighter than he leads on to be. Very well rounded, like I said, but what prevents the most challenge is his length and his speed in the striking. Derek, do you see anything different? And let me know a little bit of Faraz Ziam, man. Another one of my favorite fighters, because this is, folks, is going to be an absolute banger.
That's right. I would agree with the assessment of Jai Herbert. The only thing that I would add on to that, aside from what you said, is he fights like a man who is used to finishing his fights. And it's true because he has finished, I think 10 of his 12 wins via finish, right? I think if I'm looking at the notes right here, 9 knockouts, 1 submission in his 10 victories, right? So this dude is used to getting people out of there. And I think that's the number one key that is going to separate Herbert and Ziam here. Because Ziam, on the other hand, is a guy who doesn't look it, but wins all of the fights that you don't think that he should win. He wins them against grapplers. He wins them against strikers. He has a much more technical check hook flowy style than I think Jai Herbert does, who is a much more indomitable power-ish style, right? So for Faraz, I think that he'll throw a couple longer extended combinations, dip, head movement, dip out, level change, go in for a takedown, work the clinch, drop an elbow, move out. I think there's just much more things looped and flowed together for Faraz Ziam than there is for Jai Herbert. And the big X factor here is that when you'd mentioned it many times before, AJ, right? When you're searching and hunting for a knockout, oftentimes that knockout doesn't come. Now, maybe Herbert was able to get that stuff coming up, Cage Warriors and all that, but you get to the UFC, you start looking for those knockouts. All these guys are looking for the knockout. So I would say that's the main difference. And Faraz Ziam has some sick grappling that you would not expect. So Jai Herbert already called it out. I would not be surprised if Ziam goes and shoots for a takedown. Hopefully he's ready. But if he's not, I see Ziam being able to pretty much control the fight that way. Similar to, look at Ludovic Klein in the last fight. It was the draw. It was very close, controversial, right? But there's the grappling there. So fair assessment, or did we miss anything?
No, fair assessment. That's what I was going to hit on. That's where Ziam, for me, really kind of takes the coin flip in the ground game, in the control, because you're right, as intent and as much of a finisher Jai Herbert is, Faraz Ziam flows with things, man. He's that Jet Li approach where he's the water in the teacup, man. He's going with the flow, finding the openings and executing on them very, very well. That's what makes this fight fun, because as well-rounded as both of these fighters are, they both have like an instinctual difference on how they go about the fight. Both very, very skilled, good striking, good distance management. Arguably one's better at the ground than the other, but the Jai Herbert still has a decent ground game, so don't just completely discount him on that. Mm-hmm. But in their intent, in their mind, in the way they approach the game, just a little bit different. It makes it, for that little bit of X's and O's, a little more fun.
Yeah, and no, Jai Herbert does have a good ground game. The difference is Ziam, I think he has 5 submission victories, 4 by knockout. So he's just a little more well-rounded. I think that's the best approach for Faraz Ziam. Faraz Ziam, sorry. Here's the thing, man. Jai Herbert, one of the big perks about him is his frame in this lightweight division. He's long, he's lanky, but guess what? So is Ziam, right? So Herbert, 6'1". Faraz Ziam, 6'1". Herbert reached 77 inches. Ziam, 75 inches. So the point that I'm making here is that when those intangibles are stripped away, and now it's just an even chess match right here, it's going to come down to a couple of things. Herbert, once again, gets some of that hometown love, UFC London, right? But Ziam's from Paris, so it's not like this is going to be anything too crazy. It's that European love still. I think that if Jai Herbert is on his best sprawl and brawl game, I think that he can run away with this by landing the more impactful shots during the fight. I think this might come down to significant strikes, damage versus total volume of strikes, which I think Ziam at the end of this fight will have a higher volume of strikes. I do not think that guarantees him the win, but I will say give me the edge here. As you can see, folks, at open, -115 for Ziam. It's a coin toss pretty much. This might as well be a pick'em, and I'm going to go with Faraz Ziam on this one. Decision victory. How you see it?
Yeah, that decision, that's what I'm thinking too, Derek. It makes the most sense to me, but I'm going to be weighing on the other side. I'm weighing on the side of the power, the impact, instead of the control, because I agree. Ziam gets that control. It's going to be a very big mountain for Jai Herbert to climb. But When you're cracking from the distance, you're using your range, which arguably Jai Herbert utilizes his range at a better clip.
Mhm.
They're both very good distance range management, but Jai Herbert just has this knack for finding you at the end of your punches. I think that's going to go the long way, but I don't see a finish here. Give me Jai Herbert, the Black Country Banger by decision. This one, folks, has the potential to steal fight of the night for you, so don't just sleep on these folks because you don't recognize the name.
Absolutely.